Welcome to another Stompy 51 miniature adventure where I take you through some star players that I painted this week and one or two which have been hanging around for a while. Because I've been having quite a lot of fun playing games in the Friendly Local Gaming Stores League. I've won one, lost one, and I've got a third coming up. And on the side, I played one of the dads from the kids' class, one of these games of Blood Bowl. He's pretty au fait with how it all works. He's been in and out of the hobby over the years. His great claim to fame is he and a mate replied as young teenagers, to some kind of Jervis Johnson request in a White Dwarf, asking for ideas, offering a prize for the best Necromunda scenario idea, and he won and got a little pile of prizes and his picture in the White Dwarf, I think. And so we played a game, and he's an engineer, so he understands the mass of these things. And I explained to him various things and fouling, and he goes, after a few turns, I'd like my troll to foul your troll who's lying down. You know, you've got goblins, and I've got black orcs and goblins, and I'll just see how it goes. And I said, please don't do that. You know, this is just a learning game, and statistically, he's pretty likely to get sent off, and then you'll be down a troll. And he goes, nope, I'd like to foul your troll. And so he rolls an 11 to get through the armor, and then he rolls another 11 to send me straight into the injury box. And I had to play, well, we've only done the first half because we did it very slowly. We'll pick up the second half. But basically, I've been playing that game down one troll. Who said noobs never prosper? Now it is absolutely right and proper that we start off with the Faticus Raticus. You can see all the love that went into this miniature, which was a real joy to paint. Fur, bit of dry brushing, folds, nothing to keep you too busy. You know, he's got a bit of a seeping wound over there that's been sewn up very roughly. He's obviously lost an eye, bashed out in some going for it, leaping over the try line. I didn't go too wild with him. I painted him in the same style as I did my other Skaven, my GW Skaven, which I've had for quite a long time. I painted this star player a very long time ago with his 2 heads, extra arms, and prehensile tail. And this fella's obviously intended to be Glart Smashrip Jr., but this was a privately commissioned sculpt that someone on Lead Adventure Forum actually shared with all of us. You know, we could buy for not very much. I think he made about 80 of them, 100 of them in metal before he passed them on to someone in the States. And it was based on a drawing from a White Dwarf, I think, or from one of the cards from the first edition of Blood Bowl before it went on to the Astrogranite one. And he got someone called Rykar to come up with a concept and sculpt it up, focusing on fatness. Nothing wrong with that. And he's a little bit bigger than the 3rd edition metals, but not ridiculously so. And he's supposed to be strength 4 fatty. Not that we discriminate. I mean, it's not a protected characteristic being grotesquely obese. And I'm pleased I got them before he sold them off to Impact Miniatures. Now everyone loves a ball and chain fanatic, which here you can see gave me an opportunity to go absolutely wild with Blood for the Blood God, because if you can't do that with a fanatic with a ball and chain, with whom can you do that? And he's clearly a bit of a druggie there, having taken some kind of weird wild mushroom, magic mushroom hallucinogenic over there, which I've tried to signal with a bit of a skull on the bottle. Not something you get unless it's over the counter in the blood bowling world. Blue and yellow are the team colours that he probably would be in for my goblins, which you can see on an earlier video. He's a bit bigger than the average GW goblin, certainly the old metal ones, and probably a bit chunkier than the current plastic ones. But you would expect that because, you know, he's got to have the strength, even with the hallucinogenic stuff, to swing that ball. And you can see that I used some, I don't know if you can see it, but I used some transparent resin water effect on his eyeball and tongue to show that these are truly glazed over and dribbling as you would expect. You can't quite tell, but I use Halford's spray as an undercoat, which is brilliant because it's like this Renaissance effect where it kind of like sucks in some of the paint, like, you know, those wall paintings of the great Italian artists, you know, they murals. They would kind of, the walls would absorb the paint because it was like slightly wet plaster. And I always find you have slightly that effect with the Halford sprays because they seem, I don't know how to explain it, but they seem a bit more absorbent than like a normal GW undercoat, GW spray. And if you leave the bottle too long, like a year and a half, and you don't check and you spray in the wrong kind of weather, it kind of drizzles out like a bit of a sandy effect. But it was only very light and strangely only on part of him, like his shoes and his arms. But you can't really tell. It just looks like he's got bad skin, which, you know, if you're taking non-stop crystal meth or whatever he's doing over there, I imagine it's the least of your worries, having a bit of eczema. So he was good fun. And I hope he will stay on the pitch long enough to cause particular mayhem as games go on. He has a little cousin who comes with his pet chainsaw, both of these being Pedro Ramos miniatures, which I think you can still get through Comics y Niños. Zzz. So the light is slightly fading, but all the little people have left, so for a couple of hours, so I thought this was my moment. That's a Gasper's Arts. Well, I use him as a star player, as a Max Spleenripper kind of character. And he looks suitably terrifying, being strength 4. I love any opportunity to use yellow, but I painted this guy maybe 10 years ago, and it was before I realised, you know, you could kind of weather armour, so if I can be bothered, I might go back and do it. But the reality with star players is they're not used often enough, I think, to go to town too much, and he's also a star player from a while back. And I can't even remember if he's a Pedro Ramos model or by Franarquia. Either way, he's quite fun, and I might, if I can be bothered, go back and put on some proper transfers of numbers now that I've got a whole load from the various new Games Workshop plastics, where I'm sure they give you way more numbers than you actually need, which is brilliant. And what else have I got to show? I think that's it for today. But otherwise, the question is, do I paint some more star players to assist me in the league, especially given that I'm playing Chaos Renegades. I'm supposed to have 3 big guys. I've only got 1 big guy, and so there's often a lot of inducements I can take, and that would allow me to take some of these fantastic star players. Or do I just start painting another team? Either way, answers on a postcard. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you back around here soon. It'll be Blood Bowl for the next few videos, I suspect.